What's going on, YouTube? We are back here with the 1950s Dodge pickup. We've got Dom here installing our dual vibrant mufflers to the X-pipe. I'll let him speak more on his process and his next steps.
So right now what I'm doing is I'm making sure that the muffler is in the correct position that I want it to be able to get the rest of the back half of this completed. I am right now trying to see where my best angle is to keep this straight in the car. Not only that, keeping it level. I don't want it to sag and end up hitting the ground at some point. This is really the most important part of this because this is what a lot of people will see if they do look underneath the car. Other than that, really, I'm just making sure that both sides are going to be even on each side with taking one muffler and just seeing like what my distance is. So once I find the right distance that I want for it to be close enough to the drive shaft, I will be able to cut back my 90s that I have tacked to my V-bands here and be able to get this moving along.
What we just did here on the frame rail, if you want to come in and look close, is we've installed a Riv Nut. The reason we did that is so that we have an anchoring point for the new hanger that we're going to install. And it's pretty simple, really. You just have to drill a hole, and then there's a tool that allows you to thread the Riv Nut on and insert it into the hole. And when the tool itself, which is right here, the way that it functions is it pulls the Riv Nut inward towards the tool itself in order to create a bulge on the backside of the Riv Nut, and that's what holds it in place. When it comes to installing a threaded hole that doesn't exist on a chassis like this is the cleanest way to do it, as opposed to running you could just run a bolt with a nut on the backside. But in some cases, you can't access the backside of the frame rail, so this is necessary. And with it being such a clean finish, it's always a good option. So now that we've got the Riv Nut in place, we have a nice anchoring point for our exhaust hanger.
So right now, I have everything for the muffler section kind of tacked up, coming to the rear section. Because they didn't integrate any cats or resonators, right now we're just doing just a muffler section in the middle to lead straight pipe back. Right now I am getting the passenger side all tacked up so I can get this side off and welded. So like that when it comes time to doing the driver's side and getting this finalized, that just in case if anything moves on this side, I can readjust and make it look similar to both sides.
All right, we have a handful of updates for you guys on this classic 50s Dodge pickup truck exhaust project. Originally, we were planning on going all the way over the rear axle to the rear of the vehicle. And you probably saw that in the earlier scenes of this video. But as we go along and build these exhausts for these customers, I'm giving them updates on a daily basis. And that update consists of where we're at as far as materials and hours. And let's face it, most of this stuff comes down to numbers for people, and they want to be in a certain spot. So we try and accommodate that as best we can. And if we feel like we're getting towards that number or are going to go approach way over that number, then it's time to have a conversation about what our options are. In this case, the rear axle wasn't as big of a priority for them as just getting the exhaust to sound good and having it unique. In this case, we ended up deciding not to go up and over the rear axles, but instead are now going to be dumping the exhaust out the side with some oval shaped tips towards the rear of the side step. We do always try and accommodate customers' budgets, but we can't always promise and guarantee that we can stay within them. It's just a matter of a guideline and knowing how we can manipulate things to accommodate everyone's needs. Because I can't promise that I can predict exactly how many bends and how many hours we're going to put into this stuff. But what I can do is give them options along the way and help make educated decisions along the way. So the customers decided to go with these really nice vibrant oval tips. These are the part number 1405, which you can find on their website. They are only a 2.5 inch inlet on the backside, but we're modifying them, of course, in order to make them 3 inch. Here's a shot of the actual tip that we're going to be using. Like I said, it's only 2.5 inch on the backside, but we're going to modify accordingly. As you can see, we're going to end up cutting out that area on the inside in order to make it a true 3 inch. For those of you that are extremely detail oriented and watching these videos, keep in mind, this is a project that was not done in-house and it's still in progress. It was just brought to us to do the exhaust work. And for instance, if you're looking at things like, oh, these coilovers are really out of adjustment on both sides, those are things that we're clearly going to make sure the customer's aware of when they come back and pick it up, but is not anything of our own doing. So ease up on us in the comments a little bit when it comes to this stuff, all right? Despite the fact that we're not going to be going out the rear with the tips and out the sides, it really doesn't matter as far as the overall design and sound is concerned. Sure, it's going to sound a little different coming out the side versus the rear, but it's still an overall beautiful system. It's got one of our handcrafted X pipes along with vibrant mufflers. And if you're curious what the vibrant mufflers are, they're part number 1107, which you can also find on the Vibrant website. And I think this is going to make for a really nice recipe and a really nice sounding exhaust.